Hi, people. I hope you can hear me well. Write me in the chat if everything's okay with the sound because sometimes it can screw up and I won't know about it until you write me. I wanted to talk about Peterhof today, the place I've been last year. Hello, have you seen the Russian documentary Toxic Mildew? Let me try to Google it and you tell me if the sound is okay. Meadow. No, I don't know anything about it. Toxic mildew. Let's see. Toxic mildew. No, I don't see anything in Russian. Well, anyway, if it sounds okay, I hope you guys can hear me. So, I was in Peterhof a year before, or even better, the free PDF code Parasite Field 2.0. It answers so much. What the what the hell are you talking about? I don't get it. Just write specific. Or you trolling me? You want to get banned? Just say it. That'd be okay because I don't understand a damn word. I just found both recently. Parasite Peel 2.0. Never heard about it. Oh, Parasite Field 2. Okay. Today is pretty hot, so don't bother that I'm in a shirt. We have like 30 Masonic 3 degrees of Celsius every day for like a month or even more. Sometimes it's 37, sometimes 39. So in average, it's 33 degrees. And I'm kind of surprised what you guys asking me about toxic mildew and the reset parasites. I have to take a look about it after the maybe I don't understand what's mildew. And well, that was the topic of today's presentation. Let's see. I wanted to show you this. Share screen, entire screen. Share system audio. I hope it doesn't have any audio. Let's see. So, that's the place. Yep, I'm showing it. That's the place. That's the other compilation from the official photos. As you can see, plenty of fountains there. All this symbolism everywhere, and so on and so forth. So I always wanted to go there. I was there when I was a kid, and I didn't realize what actually I was taking a look at, and what I was observing, what that complex literally represented, what it was symbolizing for those who understood. And I didn't know the history of the place. So as you can see, you stand on the top of this. I stand somewhere around here, so filming it from above. So it's a quite a big hill, as you can see, like three big stairs for like I don't know, 10 meters each, maybe long. So it's around like I don't know, maybe 30 meters, maybe 20 meters. I don't know. I didn't measure it, so who actually knows? Maybe somewhere you can find the documentation. What's the actual height of that? I would say underground facility under this building complex. It's all filled with the equipment, which is controlling plenty of fountains, because that's not the only fountain here. There's a bunch of fountains at the place. And so returning to that point, actually, you can see on the left there's another lake and a fountain. That was around May, I think. Yeah, I think it was May. So grass was already green, but St. Petersburg, it's a pretty cold city. If you go there in the May, you should take a coat with you. So it's like, as they say, the coldest summer of my the coldest winter of my life is summer in San Francisco. I would say one of the coldest uh, springs of my life was in St. Petersburg. So, um, as you can see, standing from above, you already see this chest type of floor here, which leads you to thinking, making conclusion that something is definitely uh, symbolizing here. So who knows actually what I can find when I look at the more detailed footage, because I have filmed a bunch of videos also at this place. So I'll be looking at it all next month, and I have a bunch of footage on St. Petersburg itself. Well, if you look at the official information, everything is clear and everything is explained. Every statue, everything you can find in this place is actually having some meaning, some definition. You can take a look at each statue. You can ask your guide, and he'll tell you this is this and this is that. And this is this guy, this symbolizing this river, this symbolizing this river, and so on. You can read it in the facial documentation and Wikipedia and so on. But for me, I would say the obsession of this so-called mythological Greco-Roman style in this construction is very interesting. Because this place is connected to the sea, I would say to the bay, which is connected to the sea, Baltic Sea, and it has an access to the sea. So, as they say before, this channel over here was used by a ship that could be docked around here, and so Peter the First, the guy who founded the place, he was supposed to dock around here. So if you watch the video about St. Petersburg, the big video that I've done with the guide Julia, where we talk about Summer Garden, where Peter also had somewhere to dock to, and this place also is very interesting. So it's all connected to one person, but actually he didn't build anything of it, of what you can see right now. All of this stuff was built later, except maybe of this channel, but we don't know exactly. We don't have any footage on that, on the construction itself. Only drawings, and I would say it's not reliable source, as you can see. I was thinking always, because since the official history of photograph started in 1840s, we have a bunch of so-called experts that can explain us about long exposure thing and so on, when you don't see any people on the streets. But I made 2 videos about that, and it doesn't match the official explanation, and we had to try. One guy tried to film that, and so it didn't work. So official history of photography starts in 1840s, and I always wonder why this period is kind of fitting in this Mudflood period that I was researching. And therefore, whatever I was checking, each or any building or monument, or whatever construction is famous, and I didn't see any footage of construction. So although the photograph was already there sometime, because it was 19th century, so literally they needed to film it. Why didn't they film it? I don't know. So sometimes you find the renovation, sometimes you find partial restoration pictures, but you don't find the construction itself, which is supposed to be like wow effect. I mean, somebody was supposed to make photos of that and print it in the newspapers or whatever. These people were reading newspapers, and all these cities had newspapers, so probably somebody needed to be, sometimes it's effective information when you have a footage, but we don't have a footage, and so on. So it's a pretty big construction underneath. I would say it's comparable size of what we see on the Capitol building when we saw their footage I was publishing about the excavations and reconstruction of underground facilities under Capitolium. And we see that all these slurry walls, which pretty much around this height tall. So also I found this image everywhere. On most of the vases you can find this image of this animal, I would say, but we know the animal definitely symbolizes something non-Christian, right, or anti-Christian in most of the religion and sections of religion. They think that Satan looks around this way, but in Greek mythology that's not quite the same, and so they kind of shifted it towards the Greek mythology. And being Christian is okay to make a vase or whatever sculpture including this image. But if you make it looking like Satan, I don't think it's gonna be okay, right? So they made it this pretty fancy way. Also, this Medusa type of head, they stylized with hair, not with snakes, right? Because that's the typical Medusa head. But as you can see, it's all okay. It doesn't have its me. By the way, I was a lot fatter, I would say, a year ago. Yeah. So that's the next fountain that I found in the place. All these pictures were taken by my wife. So sometimes they like a little bit clumsy. As you can see, plenty of sculptures and so on. So another fountain with this fancy golden letter and a big lake too. A lot of sculptures reminding and symbolism of so-called Russian Empire. And here we go again with these fellows with this two-leg type of fish tail. I was calling these creatures the Navi world creatures because they look like them. I was saying because Navi is the place is surrounded by Navi, and Yavi is just the center layer. When you have light Navi world above Yavi world, and you have dark Navi world below the Yavi world that we live in. And so the layer definitely symbolizing this I would say flat surface, as you can see, like he's holding it like a flat plate. But as you can see, that is the control. They control it. So they control this surface. That's the symbolism of parasitic control of a Navi world. Like we established the total control. Here we go with our symbolism. Take a look at it. As you can see, this fountain, I've been posting it on Instagram about it. I'm going to read exactly what I was saying because it won't take very long. Sometimes I write a lot better than I speak live. So ancient Slavic culture had a so-called letter of golden ascension of us all. So soul, our soul have a golden ascension letter. Step by step, We go up and up, or down, whatever we do. If we go down, we, decline in our soul development. If we go up, that means we are like, like in some religions like Buddhism, you're like getting the enlightenment or whatever, knowledge, spiritual information, and so on. So, which is also connected to karma in other Vedic traditions. So, knowing that so-called ancient Greek mythology is also pretty much influenced by so-called Hyperborean tradition, because Greek writers, so-called Greek writers, were mentioning Hyperborea as a source of Greek culture and tradition. But I think it's just old Nordic or Slavic culture, because what is on north from Greece? It's definitely the northern Europe, right? What is above? So we must understand the symbolism depicted in this fountain in Peterhof architecture complex. Interesting thing that the Masons put Poseidon, Neptune, God. That's the one right here, not the Zeus. Looking, so top of the letter, looking fountain, and you can see these sculptures. Probably they, represent the growing of the God towards the top God and being the top of them all. Okay, so Slavic tribes quote this god name as Ni. And the world he controls was called Navi. We know it as Navy and water-based world. Navigate is moving in or out of Navy. So we like a navigate. Midgard, the place was called Midgard, Earth in Nordic and Slavic culture. So it was literally integrated into the Navy layer as a gate from Yavi layer to Navy layer of worlds or Earths, if you wish. So putting the top Navi god on the top of a letter fountain is symbolic. So I don't know if you understood anything, but literally Masons did understand it, and this was made to contribute the new era of control, parasitic control. It's like when you have your boss arrive, right? Somewhere, you're supposed to show him around, like, go there, look at this, like sightseeing, right? Like what you did here as a manager, as a put-in resident, the president, by the way, and so on. So you have to show him something. You have to show him some symbolism that is well understood by these people. And as they see their top personage, their top god on the top of the so-called fountain, they probably be very, very they'll enjoy it for sure. Okay, this is another fountain, very interesting one, also a circle, as you can see. And I think they wanted to show us something like a sun. So it's like a source of energy, or maybe the axis. Maybe this is something like what we know as star Polaris, which was a Russian video. RV Truth, or Daily Truth channel right now, is talking about. So something in the middle of the flat surface, which is pointing straight above and is controlling the navigation. Okay. And I like the form, because if you look closely, it looks like it. It looks like what we know as what we can see when we zoom in on anything. When we look at the skies, we see this water reflection. So sometimes it looks like a reflection of water on some surface when you zoom on something, or it looks like something like, you know, mixed up. So maybe water is related to it. So that's only my theory. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but anyway, write me in the comments. Maybe we can find a video with the better understanding of what I'm saying. And also, these creatures representing the creatures of the Navi world. Again, the masks of the Navi personages everywhere on each and every fountain, and the symbolism of the layers right here on these two fountains. So top layer, water column, another layer, water column. So that's how the layers combine. They're all standing on some type of axis, which is probably controlling the so-called motion on the dome. So we can see like some reflection of something moving, which we call, you know, reflection of the stars. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but that could be the representation. Also, this one is very interesting. Pure Masonic checkmate composition, a hill, and on the top of a hill you can see these creatures looking like a water dragon or something, water snake. And the symbolism is that they have like, they live inside of these, I don't know, construction looking like a pyramid, like, right? So that's probably what is representing. So we see the pyramid. On top of the pyramid you see the creatures, which are probably the weapons of the bioweapons of the Navi world, because they use these creatures to enslave the populations of other layers of other, you know, earths nearby them. So the sand creature, like a dragon or whatever, could be representing a dragon, could be a technological device, could be a biotechnological device. We only have to, you just name it. We only have the imagination to understand what that could possibly be. But many mythologies, many nations, many people talk about some dragons. The place I live here is full of this symbolism. China is full of this symbolism, and so on. So, and pure Masonic, I don't know, maybe something else to it, but these are just the steps of probably the awareness of Masonic awareness. And also you can see this typical Navi world creatures, humanoids, not men, not woman. Sometimes they look like woman, but really not woman. And Russian mythology also talking about creatures, the parasites that enslave us, and they can be both husband and wife, is what they literally say in Russian books. These books are prohibited, by the way. So plenty of symbolism here. And the construction itself is on a big hill, which could include the inner facilities. Also, you can see this very interesting case. Something, it's just a cross with turtles. But if you look closely, you can see also this guy here with these fish tails. So definitely the creature of the Navi world, probably the personage from the Navi world. And another representation of the surface here. So this could be actually representing the so-called Hyperborea, because also you see this fountain straight up, so that could be the Polaris star, which is above the North Pole, the Hyperborea, which was mentioned on different maps like Mercator maps and so on, and the so-called pond, or the waters of our world. So, and you can see the fence. So the fence, it means that you cannot escape here. This is a surrounded area, is what I can see, and so on. So also different symbolism on the churches here. Well, I can zoom in to a very big, good quality, but all this stuff is reconstructed, of course. This is not original, because this place was totally ruined by Germans during World War II, and was reconstructed. But it was reconstructed as it was before in the 19th century. But anyway, all this stuff also represents plenty of, as you can see, seashell and so on. So this symbolism represents that, like, if you have this imagination, right? There was a church, maybe a Christian church, whatever, or a place, and then it got renovated with new symbolism, and it doesn't actually fit as well. It's not very good in design. It's like a facility of some different type. It's not a religious facility, is what I can see. And it's decorated this way just to show that we are around, we watch you, we see you, we have this symbolism, all these spinning things, like, I don't know, that's a turmoil or whatever. And old Sinai here, pyramid, and plenty of seashells everywhere. So I don't know if you can see anything, but literally it's located in front of this main fountain, and could be the representation of the control of this place. Like, we see from the top, we see everything, we see everybody, we control you. And also this main fountain, as you can see, have this checkmate floor here, like as you can see, also rocks here representing the old, like something new is built above something old, on the ruins of the old, And this old fountain itself, where the Samson guy is holding, also represents like something, ruins of something, and so on. So as you can see, these creatures everywhere. Yeah, of course you will find the official explanation, but I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Too many coincidences, I would say, in this place. So my thinking is that it was renovated this way because they wanted to show us who is in charge. Okay. In St. Petersburg, you can find a bunch of these creatures. They call them Sphinx, but actually they're not Sphinx. They're griffins. But as you can see, the faces look like lion face, sometimes with horns, sometimes you can see clearly the griffin head, sometimes you can see the lion head. So probably there's some type of different creatures. But who knows, actually. So let's go to this fountain picture. Yeah, as you can see, this guy here is standing on some pile of rocks and trying to hold some water or whatever. So all this was renovated after Nazi forces were withdrawn from St. Petersburg area, and I also had some footage about that filmed. So maybe next time we can see this more clearly in my videos, because this is only photos that I had. Okay, let's stop screen, check out the questions. Oh, ho, 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 ho. No Russian. That's what the American Miro videos title could be, something else in Russian. It just blew my mind, and I wanted to share this was many smart people as I could. As many smart people as I could to share. Yeah, great share, but I haven't seen it. Is that yellow building new or just freshly painted? Yes, they renovated each and every time because it's a touristic place. During the Soviet Union, it was one of the uh, biggest places to visit in St. Petersburg. So many fountains here. It's just my videos had a lot more photos, but some of them are like I would say more personal. So I had this little trailer from what I was filming. Let me show it to you. Let's see. Present. Yeah. Pretty much the same footage, but only clips of it. I don't have very good connection right now. So mostly this place, as you can see, is very the level of this underground facility, which controls each and every flow. It was all renovated, but it wasn't destroyed as much as the buildings on top. Just put some maybe a little bit less quality. So all this area is filled with fountains, and since it was 17th century when it was founded, I don't know what's happening to this video. Maybe I'll open it up after the stream. You can guys check it out. So definitely there's something to watch there if you can go there. But as you can see, my video is not working. I don't know. YouTube doesn't like my videos. They always, if they are not open, if they are some type of unlisted or private or whatever, you never be able to watch them good because it's never good connection for them. And so on. So I have a bunch of little clips that I wanted to create a big video. Let me just stop this ridiculous thing. So anyway, the thing was reconstructed after the Germans withdrew their troops after they fled the area. It was reconstructed for I think 5 or 6 years, but typically we don't actually know how many it took to fully reconstruct the place because it's huge. There's like one complex to another complex and to another complex, and so on neighboring complexes. So yeah, they painted, definitely they painted very good. Serbia loves you, Phil. Yo, from the East Coast. Morning glory. Hello, Philip. You have such a nice tan. No, it's not a tan. I actually got sunburned today because I was swimming in the morning without any hat on, and 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was a mistake because look at my face. So 9 o'clock in the morning, you totally get sunburned. Google Terra 03 Black Star Planet X Nemesis Nibiru is coming on YouTube. Dutch scenes. Well, Google, guys. My personal experience with this Nibiru's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. And I found it out in like 2003 or 2004, and it was totally clear that is BS. Siren, yeah. Somebody called Siren, somebody called Medusa Harkona, and so on. Kind of like Atlas, sort of like the Nacho Head. Cheers. That parasite PDF explained the whole problem that the world and how the parasite actually operate. Well, I can tell you how they operate. What they do is simply being assigned to some certain script, being assigned to some certain role. Of course, you have to have a lot of information on that person before he enters the inner circle of controllers. He has to bypass several layers of checks, and he has to have a bunch of compromat information on him, so he won't be moving too fast. He won't be, very smart. He'll be listening to the bosses and so on, because all this information could be released at any time. And that's why these people are so good in following orders, but only until they are on the kill list. When they know they're on the kill list, and when they have nothing to lose, these folks can do whatever. So, and totally unpredictable and so on. So, kind of a Joker thing, right, in the cards. Nibiru is the moon. Come on. How many creatures are there? There's plenty of them. Plenty of creatures. And but all this connected to the Marine Kingdom or Navi world, whatever you call it. In the movie Atlantis or whatever, maybe where's this guy? Aquaman. Yeah, we're talking about Atlantis, war with Earth, and so on. So, like a big underground, underwater civilization with plenty of technologies and so on. Yeah, that's a Navi world. That's what they're saying about it. So they kind of mixing two stories of Atlantis and the Navi world, and showing the Navi world as Atlantis. But definitely, well, I would better say that Star Wars movie, when they have this first part released way after third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth part, when you have the big best quality videos of first, second, and third, you have the probably first part where we have this underwater world. And write me in the comment how that place was called. Pretty much similar. And they had this trade union also there mixed in this story, because the story of our place also includes the trade world, because Atlantis itself was a trade union. So Atlantis had outposts, which we know as star forts, everywhere. The star fort constructions were belonged to ex-Atlantis traders, but then they had a rebranding and so on, so calling themselves Handshake Union, other unions. So it's kind of rebranding the old one, the big one. So each and everybody wanted to take a share of that ex-Atlantis trade routes. So right now we also see this Chinese New Silk Way and so on. So that's kind of competing with this naval trade routes, the official trade routes of Suez Channel and so on. So you're gonna have this huge highway from Russia to Beijing, and a bunch of cars will be moving at high speed, while these big slow tankers will be hauling their ass very slow. So nobody wants this. So everybody wants to be having a control in the trade routes. That's why Atlantis was destroyed, because they were messing too much with these trading instruments. And the war between Rus and the Atlantis uh, and their backed Chinese so-called dragon people, it started the calendar which we know as the current calendar of creation of peace treaty, signing of peace treaty. But if you translate it in Russian, you can translate it as creation of world. So some even related to creation of biblical creation of world, but actually it's a creation of peace. It's a creation of a peace treaty between China, ex-China, of a dragon Navi controlled opposition force, and the main force of this world that was controlled by so-called Rus, or some call it Rus. So this bigger part, which we know as Tartaria, and so so let's go further. If the checkers represent dimensions of space, maybe these are representations of being from a different sphere. Well, yes, the layers are different. Yeah, you have to understand that. So as this, fountain, the smaller one and the bigger one below, it's all connected to the water, and you can transport, you can haul cargoes and transportation. That's why it's connected this way, and that's why parasites took over, because they can't transport the goods from us, can't transport anything. Uh, People, slaves, whatever. That's where all this stuff goes to, not to us. Most of our stuff goes to them. So why are you allowed to go inside? What were you allowed to go inside of? Yes, you can go, but you'll see just regular pipes, like a boiler room there. Nobody let you walk underneath the palace itself, but you can walk and buy a ticket to go to a fountain boiler room. So that's quite interesting, but I didn't have any time there to do that. White ice wall. Yes, looks like a white ice wall. Thank you. Maybe magnetic mountain Meru. Yes, maybe. So, but Meru itself could be a disinformation. Could be disinformation. We don't know actually what is the place actually looking like inside, because most of these maps saying that there was a mountain right in the top of so-called Hyperborea, or Daria continent, which looks like a blue cross on a yellow surface. Yeah, looks like a flag of Nordic countries, but mostly like a Swedish flag. That was original flag. The cross was symbolizing, this four parts, of the continent, um, which was called Daria. Daria means uh, old Arya, old Aryan place, old Aryan world. Aryan means a warrior who can work in the field, who can be a farmer, worker, so on. So, and probably you've also heard about Asia and AZAS as as a name of those areas because they call themselves us. In English, you find this like ace, like the top card of the top card, ace, or you can call ace a top professional, right? But actually, it's coming from AS, which is Asia. So Asia is the biggest part, and there was a place where aces were living, actually. But you won't find it in the books. Oh, hello, Dustin. Your comments are always funny. You read Pushkin. Well, I read Pushkin. Yeah, I read Pushkin. Do you know anything about the Moor of St. Petersburg? If Pushkin was a Moor, it's kind of late. In Thailand, I started to go and take a nap at around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. because it's getting darker a lot faster than in Europe. So I'm kind of slow today with your comments, guys. Mu and Candida. We love Philip, no homo. Everybody needs to get rid of their pets, especially dogs. Oh, guys, come on. Kin, Rurik, Kiev, and Rus, we spoke on that before, Philip. Yeah, Kung, King, Konung, mm, Crown, that's all the same. And they didn't have the so-called letters which are saying like A, O, E, I, and so they just read like without saying. So whoever was decrypting it knew how to read it actually, but it's pretty hard for us to transcribe it and so on. Abram Petrovich Gannibal, the Moor of St. Petersburg. Yes, he was the so-called servant of Peter the First. Very interesting person at least. And one of his offsprings was one of the famous Russian poets. His name is Alexander Pushkin. And I also made a post on him on Instagram because his appearance in France, yes, as the Alexander Dumas could be possible. That's not a theory. That's quite a good theory. I wouldn't say it's true, but it has so many coincidental evidence. And Pushkin himself was Mason, and nobody saw Dumas before Pushkin died. Dumas appeared in Paris only at the age of closer to the age Pushkin had when he died, actually. So people say that Pushkin was painting himself different way for several years. So totally misleading the police because police was trying to know how he looks and they were buying his pictures, his portraits, and he didn't look the same. So very interesting story. And the guy who was buried as Pushkin didn't look like Pushkin. So very, very interesting story. And Pushkin had French as he knew French as his native language. He was speaking French more and better than he spoke Russian. Yep. And he never liked Russia. He always wanted to flee from Russia. He didn't like Tsar. He was totally Masonic ideology guy. He was a brainwash propaganda, and he was always editing the stories he heard from Russians and creating these masterpiece poems, which everybody knows and loves in Russia. But actually, if you read these poems, you understand that they are Masonic, like 33 bogatures coming from the sea and so on. So there's a bunch of different information there. Read Pushkin, and you'll find a bunch of Masonic hints. Well, it was almost 50 minutes. I hope you guys liked it. Next time, I'll be editing more videos and probably show you more on St. Petersburg itself, because I have a bunch of videos not even watched by me yet. I know I filmed them, they are stored on some discs and so on. So thanks for coming. Hope you guys liked that little excursion, a little tour. And I'm gonna be coming back with this world, what in the world video, maybe broadcast, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, when we have more information what's going on, as we have some updates. I hope that be very interesting for you. So thanks a lot for following, guys, and see you guys later. Bye.